Have you ever thought about dropping everything just to film videos with the person you love? What if that old phone in your drawer wasn't just collecting dust, but your passport to a life full of wild adventures? This is the story of Emily and Jake, just your regular couple with massive dreams. They didn't have a fancy camera, no mic, no followers, just each other, a beat-up phone, and a ridiculous amount of determination. Today, they travel the world, make a living filming their lives, and inspire thousands of people. But trust me, it didn't start that way. Want to know how it all began? Then stick around, because this story just might hit you in the heart. And maybe shake up your life plans, too. You know those stories that seem small at first, but secretly carry a huge potential to change everything? That's how the journey of Michael and Emily began. Just a regular couple with some very unregular dreams. And a phone with a cracked screen. No studio. No microphone, no fancy scripts, just the two of them, a hunger to try something new, and a kind of innocent hope that maybe, just maybe, sharing their life with the world could mean something. They lived in a tiny apartment, secondhand furniture, and bills that were always one step ahead of the paycheck. But even then, there was this spark in their eyes, a look that said, "We're gonna make it." Michael worked as a food delivery guy. Emily was a receptionist at a small clinic. Their routine, exhausting. Their bank account? Depressing. But every night, after a basic dinner and a long day, they'd sit on the couch, open that cracked phone, and hit record. The videos? Short. Silly. Just real-life stuff. Quick recipes. Random daily updates. Even goofy challenges that had them laughing so hard they forgot how tired they were. Here's the kicker. They knew nothing about YouTube. Not the algorithm. Not video editing. Not even what a good title should look like. But they had one thing going for them. Heart. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Their first video? 11 views. 7 of them were from themselves. But weirdly, that didn't disappoint them. In fact, it lit something up inside. Because for the first time in a long time, they were creating something together. And that spark was just getting started. The next week, Michael and Emily kept filming. Every single day, after their exhausting jobs, they'd sit down in the same corner of the living room, turn on that cracked old phone, and start recording. They didn't have professional lighting, so they used an old desk lamp and whatever sunlight squeezed through the window. The audio. Let's just say you could hear the neighbor's dog barking better than their own voices. But still they kept going. And it was on their 4th video that something unexpected happened. Among the handful of comments, mostly sweet messages from family and friends, one stood out. "I have no idea how I got here, but this couple is special. They made me smile. Please post more." Michael read it out loud, eyes wide like he'd just won the lottery. Emily sat frozen for a few seconds. Then they looked at each other, like they had just received the biggest award in the world. It was just one comment, from a total stranger. But to them, it meant everything. Because for the first time, someone on the other side of the screen felt something. Someone saw the beauty in their simplicity. Someone understood, even without knowing exactly what they were doing. From that moment on, the game changed. They decided to learn. Michael started watching video editing tutorials on his lunch break, hiding in a corner, eating a sad sandwich while secretly mastering jump cuts. Emily dove into research, catchy titles, channel monetization, how to write descriptions that actually get people to click. They still had no income from the channel. The days were still rushed and chaotic, but something inside them had shifted. This wasn't a silly hobby anymore. It was a project built on love, partnership, and just enough hope to keep going. That night, they recorded their 5th video. And at the end, Emily looked into the camera and said with a shy smile, "If you're still watching this, thank you for being part of this. We're still learning, but we're trying, and we're not stopping." They didn't know it yet, but they had just planted the seeds of something so much bigger than they ever imagined. The days started flying by. With every video they posted, even with just a handful of views, Michael and Emily felt like they were building something. But what no one saw, what never made it on camera, was the battle happening behind the scenes. Emily, drained after long hours at the cafe, still managed to smile into that phone camera. Michael, exhausted from hours driving across the city making deliveries, hid his fatigue behind the playful jokes that made everything feel effortless on screen. They didn't have enough subscribers to earn a single penny. Not yet. But every night, after editing the videos, Michael would sigh, look at the screen and say, "One day, this channel is going to pay for our trip to Paris." Emily would laugh. How about it starts by paying the electric bill? But deep down, they believed. Then something completely unscripted happened. Their 7th video, titled Cooking Together and Almost Burning the Kitchen, went viral. No ads, no shoutouts, no sponsors, just boom. On a regular Tuesday morning, while Michael was loading boxes into his car, his phone buzzed. Once, twice, 20 times. Notifications, comments, new subscribers. Emily called him, crying, "Michael, we've got over 10,000 views. In one day. What is happening?" He froze, leaned against the steering wheel, and sat in silence for a long, long moment. It was real. People from all over the world were laughing with them, commenting, sharing, saying they had never seen a couple so simple, so natural, so real. And for the first time, Michael and Emily realized, this wasn't just some far-off dream. This was happening. That night, sitting on the floor of their living room, they hugged each other tight, opened a packet of instant noodles, and toasted with plastic cups, to the video that almost burned the kitchen, but lit the way forward. From that moment on, there was no turning back. After the viral video, Michael and Emily's channel exploded. The numbers shot up like fireworks on New Year's Eve. Thousands of subscribers, hundreds of comments, people saying they waited for the next video like it was the next episode of their favorite show. But along with all that sparkle came pressure. For the first time, they asked themselves, now what? What do we post next? What once came naturally was now tangled up with expectations. They knew they got it right once, but could they do it again? Emily started pressuring herself. She wanted every video to be perfect. She rehearsed lines, reshot scenes. Sometimes she even cried, thinking she wasn't good enough. Michael, meanwhile, slept less and Googled more. He studied thumbnails, algorithms, engagement strategies. He wasn't just chasing views. He wanted to turn this thing into income. Then, after weeks of trying, it happened. On a rainy Friday morning, while sipping coffee on the couch, they saw the notification. Congratulations! Your channel is now eligible for monetization on YouTube. Emily let out a scream. Michael's eyes went wide. They stared at each other for a second, then burst into laughter, like two kids who just found treasure buried in the backyard. The money was small at first, just a few cents per video. But every cent felt massive, because it meant something bigger, the beginning of a new life. They filmed a video just to say thank you. And at the end, Emily looked at the camera and said, "We don't know where this is going, but we know we're going together. And if you're watching this, you've been a huge part of our dream." Then something even crazier happened. Brands started reaching out. Collabs, sponsorships, packages started arriving at their apartment. For the first time ever, they were working with what they loved and getting noticed for it. But the best part wasn't the money. It was looking into each other's eyes and realizing, we built this from zero, with love, with persistence, and just enough faith to keep trying. They started with a cracked phone and a pile of bills. And now, they were starting to take on the world. Life felt lighter. The videos were flowing. Views were climbing. And even though the channel's income was still humble, it started to pay for little things around the house. Wi-Fi, paid. Electric bill, covered. A dinner out after months of budgeting every penny? Delicious. But it still wasn't enough to live on. And yet, something inside them whispered, it's now or never. Michael was always the first one up and the last to sleep. He was drained, trapped in a dull office job where his creativity was trimmed like overgrown grass in a suburban backyard. Emily, on the other hand, was juggling her job as an administrative assistant with filming, editing, writing scripts, and still keeping the house from falling apart. She was running on fumes. Then, one quiet Sunday night, while they were curled up on the couch, Emily whispered, "Babe, what if we just quit everything?" Michael blinked. Everything. The jobs. The routine. This autopilot life. What if we take a leap of faith and go all in on the channel? Silence. But it wasn't the silence of fear. It was the silence of two people who already knew the answer, deep down. The following week, after a lot of thinking, number crunching, and deep breathing, Michael made the first move. He walked into his boss's office, heart pounding like a drum, and said, "I'm resigning. I'm following my dream." Across the city on the same day, Emily did the same. It wasn't easy. It wasn't fear-free, but it was liberating. That weekend, sitting in the park, drinking coffee from paper cups with glowing eyes, they wrote in a notebook. Starting today, we live for what we believe in. They built a new routine, filmed daily, wrote scripts at night, learned SEO, digital marketing, storytelling. They became a two-person production studio, madly in love and determined to inspire others with their story. And guess what? The channel took off even more. Subscribers doubled in just weeks. One video, how we quit everything to build our couple channel, hit 1 million views in 3 days. The world started paying attention. They were invited to podcasts, interviews, webinars, and for the first time, they were making real money. No more pennies. Now they could dream of traveling, investing, building something even bigger. But one thing was still missing, a dream they never let go of, an empty passport, and a world map, waiting for its first stamp. Their suitcases weren't just packed with clothes. They were packed with meaning. Inside those bags were early morning edits, late-night tears, moments of doubt, hidden fears, and bare hugs on the hardest days. Michael looked over at Emily while folding his last t-shirt. You realize this is the first time we're traveling, with no vacation days scheduled, no return ticket, and no boss waiting for us on Monday. Emily smiled, with that spark in her eyes he knew so well. And it's the first time we'll be getting paid to tell this story. They weren't going on vacation. They were going to work, by living a dream. Destination, Portugal. A place full of history, amazing views, and most importantly, strong Wi-Fi to upload videos. The channel had become a steady income source. Brand deals started rolling in. Camera gear, backpacks, airline tickets, travel apps. But they made a promise. They'd only partner with brands they truly believed in. And the audience? Oh, they loved it. That same goofy couple who once filmed shaky phone videos in their tiny living room was now showing off golden sunsets in Porto, snacking on pastéis de nata, and cracking jokes about budgeting in euros. The first video they filmed in Portugal became a turning point. Not just because of the scenery, but because of the truth in their voices. They opened up about fear, about quitting everything, about family members who said they were crazy, about friends who told them it would never work. But here they were, living it, filming it, inspiring others. In the video caption they wrote, "One day we dreamed. Today we live the dream." And the comments exploded. "You guys gave me the courage I needed. Watching your videos feels like I'm traveling too. You're proof that love plus courage equals everything." And honestly, everything was changing. The channel kept growing week after week. Subscribers soared like rockets. Every new country meant a new story to tell. And proof that yes, you can turn passion into purpose. They knew they still had so much to learn. But they had something that money can't buy. Freedom. At the end of that first month, sitting at a viewpoint overlooking Lisbon, Michael turned to Emily and said, "So, what do you think about Asia?" Emily laughed. "What do you think about telling that story in our next video?" They kissed, held hands, and looked straight into the camera. Because this journey was just getting started. Asia welcomed them with open arms and very unstable Wi-Fi, grinning face with sweat, but nothing could shake their spirit. They landed in Bali with a camera, a brand new microphone, bought with their first real YouTube payment, and hearts beating faster than ever. They were far from home, but closer than ever to their purpose. Michael woke up early to review scripts. Emily sat cross-legged with a strong coffee and edited every frame with care. No team, no agency, no fancy gear, but so much heart. And maybe that's what people loved. Their authenticity, the way they laughed through mishaps, spoke respectfully about cultural differences, and navigated everything together. Their channel had nearly 500,000 subscribers. Some videos went viral in totally unexpected ways. One cooking Thai food with a local family, another on how to travel Indonesia on a tiny budget, and the fan favorite, how to travel as a couple without driving each other crazy. People laughed, people cried, and their inbox was full of messages like, "You two are like a real-life movie couple. You made me believe in love again. I'm saving up to do the same thing." And that's when it hit them. They weren't just traveling anymore. They were inspiring real change. But if they wanted to make this lifestyle sustainable, they had to go beyond just videos. So they started learning digital marketing, created ebooks, launched short courses like How to Start a Channel from Scratch, offered mentorships, partnered only with brands that matched their values. Passive income became the next goal. They released their first ebook, Blue Book from Couch to Globe, How to Turn Your Routine into a Digital Journey, and sold over 5,000 copies in the first month. People didn't just want the content. They wanted the formula, the roadmap, the motivation. And there, under the hot Asian sun, they realized they weren't just growing a channel. They were building a brand of love, courage, and authenticity. At the end of a long shoot day, feet in the sand, waves crashing nearby, Michael turned to Emily and said, "You feel it? We're building our freedom. Brick by brick, video by video." Emily, eyes misty, smiled and replied, "And the best part, we're doing it together." Glowing star. This chapter is about just that. Turning creativity into a career, using love as fuel, and proving, once again, that together they could take on the world. After months riding high, everything felt like magic. Views were climbing, the comments were full of love, and Michael and Emily were finally living off what they loved. But then, out of nowhere, the unexpected happened. A video they had poured their hearts into. One that showed the behind the scenes of the nomadic life. The stress, the chaos, even a small argument between them, hit the internet like a bomb. The algorithm didn't like it. The video flopped, reach plummeted, and worst of all, some of the comments were cruel. Spoiled couple. If you can't handle pressure, maybe go back home. Thought you guys were happy. All you do is complain. Michael was in shock. Emily cried for hours. They had been honest. They showed the real stuff. But apparently, not everyone was ready for raw truth. Views dropped like a rock. Brand deals stalled. And for a moment, they both asked, was this just a phase? Did we go too far? That night, something shifted. Michael quietly spent 2 days reviewing everything. Old videos, harsh comments, flatlined analytics. Emily dove into books about resilience, coping with online criticism, and how strong brands are born in storms, not sunshine. And on one quiet night, with a full moon glowing outside their small apartment window in Vietnam, they looked at each other and said, in perfect sync, "We didn't start this to please everyone. We started this to live with purpose, to show what's real. If we keep going, it has to be with soul. Our way." And that's exactly what they did. Their next video, just the two of them. No music, no edits, no filters. Straight to the camera, they said, "We're not perfect. Sometimes we mess up. We get tired. We fight. But we're still here. Because we believe the world needs more truth. If you're still with us, thank you. You're part of this story now." That video went viral. More than any other. Thousands of messages poured in. People said they felt seen, heard, understood. Other channels started doing the same. Being real, being raw. Michael and Emily hadn't just survived a crisis. They had shifted the way creators connect with their audience. And from that moment forward, they didn't just grow back. They grew stronger, more grounded, more human. The sun was shining bright that morning in Lisbon, where Michael and Emily had decided to spend a season. They were filming another video, exploring Portugal's hidden gems, when the email landed. Subject line, co-production proposal, Netflix originals. Michael's eyes widened. Emily went pale. It wasn't spam. It was real. And more than that, they were being invited to star in a documentary series about couples who changed their lives through YouTube. The producers wanted to tell their story, from the very first shaky videos to now, to show the behind the scenes, the struggles, the boldness of living with little to gain so much, and how love survived pressure, criticism, and uncertainty. Is this real? If it is, this could take our message global. But with the sparkle came fine print. The producers wanted partial creative control. Scripts had to be pre-approved. And worst of all, they'd have to stay in one place for 3 months. Michael's heart sank. Emily looked out the window at the open, free sky, the one they'd always dreamed of chasing. "Is it worth it?" she asked. "Are we ready to become a product, when all we ever wanted was to be real?" That night was long. They talked about everything. What they had already built, what they might risk losing, what freedom really meant, what success really meant. And there, with glasses of wine in hand, bare feet on the cool floor of their Lisbon apartment, they made their choice. "We didn't start this channel to be famous. We started it to inspire. If we're going to tell our story, it has to be our way." If they're okay with that, we're in. If not, we keep going. Together. They wrote their reply, with hearts pounding through their fingertips. Days later, the answer came. Not only did Netflix accept their terms, they were impressed. The series was officially greenlit. And yes, it would be told their way. Emily cried. Michael held her tight. This wasn't just about a show. It was about voice, respect, truth. And now, with more followers than ever, and a contract in their hands, they were about to bring their story to millions around the world. But before that, there was one last video to film before production started. A thank you. A tribute to every subscriber, every comment, every soul that believed in them from day one. In that video, they said, "We didn't get here alone. If we can live from what we love today, it's because you were there on the other side of the screen." And that, not even the biggest contract in the world can beat that. When the filming crew arrived at the tiny village where Emily and Michael were staying, the scene was almost poetic. Cobblestone streets, clotheslines swaying in the breeze, the smell of fresh bread floating through the air. It was the opposite of the massive studios the producers were used to. But that's what made this couple so special. Filming began at 6 a.m. Drones soared above the rooftops. Hidden cameras captured daily life. Lapel mics recorded every giggle between one coffee and the next. Emily was nervous. Michael tried to stay calm, but it wasn't easy. Making YouTube videos was simple. Hit record. Be honest. Speak from the heart. Now, there were 12 people around them. Lights, scripts, deadlines, and worst of all, the pressure to be perfect. "We need to reshoot that scene where you pour the coffee, Han." "But I was just pouring coffee." "Exactly, but you didn't smile like you did before." Emily felt her chest tighten. Michael held her hand beneath the table. They looked at each other and remembered the pact they had made. If either of us feels like we're losing our essence, we stop and we reconnect. That night, after a long day of filming, they climbed up to the rooftop of the building they were staying in. From there, they could see the ocean. The breeze was soft. The city slept in silence. "Do you still feel like it's us?" Michael asked. Emily paused. "I do, but I need you here. Not the version of you in a script. Just you and me." Michael pulled her close, rested his face beside hers, and whispered, "Then tomorrow, let's film the most important scene of our lives." And that's exactly what they did. The next morning, they gathered the crew. With courage, they said, "We agreed to this series because we wanted to inspire. But we're not here to sell an edited version of ourselves. If you're going to film us, film the truth. Film the pauses, the mistakes, the silence. That's what got us here." The producer, a grizzled man with decades in the industry, looked at them, took a deep breath, and smiled. "You two have something most people forgot how to do. You live what you believe. And that is gold." From that moment on, the filming became a celebration of real life. The episodes showed homesickness tears, private inside jokes, silly arguments about dinner, and long hugs at the end of a hard day. And the world fell in love with them. The series broke records, was translated into 14 languages, won awards. But more than that, it touched millions of couples who saw themselves in that simple, soulful authenticity. In the final episode, Emily looked into the camera, teary-eyed, and said, "If you're watching this with someone you love, hold them close. And remember, the journey doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be yours." Together, the success of the series catapulted them into a reality they never imagined. They weren't just Emily and Michael from the channel anymore. They were Emily and Michael, the real-time love phenomenon. TV appearances, million-dollar brand deals, magazine covers, even a biography written by a well-known journalist. But with it came the wait. Time together started to vanish. Between sponsor meetings, interviews, press tours, and non-stop travel, their moments as just Emily and Michael began to disappear. And home, the sacred space they once cherished, it became a set. Cameras in the corners, schedules taped to the fridge. Even dinner had a time limit. Michael began to feel like a product. Emily, still smiling, but silently craving stillness. Then one cold night in Paris, they found themselves sitting in a hotel room face to face, but worlds apart, both holding their phones, both scrolling through notifications, neither saying a word, until Emily whispered, "Isn't it funny? We're in the place we always dreamed of, and yet we feel so far apart." Michael put his phone down, walked over, sat beside her, held her hand. "Do you remember when we used to film on the floor with just a phone?" Emily laughed softly, eyes glistening. "I remember the hard floor, the plain white wall, and how happy we were, even with nothing." Silence. Then Michael said, "What if we just turned it all off? For a while. To breathe. To remember who we are." That night, in the quiet heart of Paris, they made one of the most important decisions of their lives. To pause. They posted a short video on the channel. "Friends, today we're making the boldest move of our story. We're pausing to live. Fame gave us a lot, but now we want to find what brought us here in the first place. Love. We'll be back, truer than ever." And then, they vanished. No posts, no stories, no noise. For the first time in forever, they breathed. They went to a remote cabin in the mountains. No internet, no cell service, no schedule. And there, between the cold outside and the warmth within, they rediscovered the simple rituals. Cooking together, talking without a clock, reading out loud, sleeping wrapped in each other's arms, with only the wind as music. Emily started writing again. Michael started taking pictures again. And together, they started dreaming again. Not about views or contracts or status, but about real life. Through that pause, they realized, true success isn't what's happening out there. It's what they've always carried in here. The connection they built, side by side. After over a month offline, the internet began to buzz with questions. Where's the couple who made love look so simple? Did they break up? Was it a stunt? Are they okay? Will they come back? And then on a quiet morning, a new video appeared on their channel. The thumbnail was simple. "We're back, but different." Michael and Emily sat on a wooden couch, a fire crackling behind them. No flashy edits, no dramatic music, just them, like in the beginning. Michael spoke first, calmly. "We needed time to find each other again. And we realized, success without connection is just noise." Emily added, "The pause taught us how beautiful life can be, when you choose to be present, not just to post, but to feel." Then they told the whole story. The burnout, the emotional distance, the loss of meaning, even at the peak of their fame. But also, the beautiful part, the reconnection, the honest talks, the laughter, unscripted, the new plan. Emily looked into the camera, eyes glowing. "We're going to keep the channel, but with a new purpose. We want more than entertainment. We want to inspire, to help couples reconnect, to find balance between dreams and reality." Michael added, "We'll show what no one shows, the behind the scenes of real relationships, the highs, the lows, and how you can grow together without losing each other." And just like that, a new chapter began. They launched brand new segments. Small Orange Diamond Real Talk, anonymous couples sharing their challenges. Small Orange Diamond Investing in Us, real tips on managing money as a couple. Small Orange Diamond Purposeful Travel, exploring the world without losing what matters. Small Orange Diamond Love Unfiltered, raw, unedited conversations between them. And the audience? It exploded. Comments turned into love letters. Couples shared how the videos helped them reconnect. Some even said the channel saved their relationship. The audience didn't just return. It multiplied, but not because of perfect content, because of honest content. Emily and Michael realized it was no longer about numbers. It was about legacy. With each new video reaching millions of views, Emily and Michael began to feel it. This was bigger than them. The messages poured in nonstop. Couples from all over the world shared their stories, their struggles, their reconciliations, their breakthroughs. "We were about to split up, but your videos gave us one more reason to try. I never thought I'd be able to talk to my partner that way. You opened our eyes." At first, it was just a channel. Now it's a lighthouse. That's when a bold idea emerged. What if they could bring this connection into the real world? Off-screen, face-to-face, heart-to-heart. And so began the most daring project of their journey. Sparkle's The Real Connection Retreat, a weekend getaway for couples. No luxury, no filters, just a simple space surrounded by nature, where couples could unplug from their phones and reconnect with each other. They built it from scratch. Honest conversations, a group circles, healing dynamics, and a letter writing session, where each person wrote to their partner, as if it were the last chance to say everything. The results? Deep, beautiful, life-changing. Couples on the edge of divorce smiled again. Others gave each other a first kiss. as if starting over. And one pair got down on one knee and proposed. For the second time. At the end of that first retreat, Emily wiped away tears and whispered, This is what it's all for. If we can help even one couple not give up on love, it's worth everything. Michael, eyes full, leaned closer and said softly, We started with a phone in our hands, and now the whole world is listening. The success sparked a wave of invitations. Universities asking them to speak on modern love. Publishers eager to turn their story into a book. Streaming platforms offering a documentary deal. And yes, they said yes. That's how the film Beyond the Like was born. A powerful documentary showing what was never in the vlogs. The fights, the failures, the fear of exposure, the crushing pressure, and the reunion that changed everything. At its premiere, thousands filled theaters. Millions watched from home. The impact? Massive. Award nominations followed. But even more powerful, it sparked a global movement. Real relationships, more than a message. A mission. And in everything they created, from the retreat, to the film, to the book, one simple signature appeared at the end. With love, Michael and Emily. Fame exploded, and with it came the bright lights. Contracts, first-class flights, magazine covers, talk show invites. Everything that once seemed so far away was now routine. But what no one saw was the wait, because with every new achievement, a quiet question echoed between them. Are we still that couple who used to film on the living room couch? Michael and Emily began to realize, success, when not handled with care, can become a villain dressed up as victory. It was the public's eyes, watching 24/7. The algorithm, demanding weekly uploads. The pressure to be perfect, even when they disagreed. And slowly, that noise crept into their home, into the space that once felt safe. There were nights they didn't eat together, days where they only spoke to manage deadlines. And that spark, that easy laughter, began to flicker. One evening, Emily sat with a cold coffee in her hands. She looked at Michael and said, We became a business, but I still want to be your partner, your person. I want to dance barefoot in the living room again. I want to hear your laugh without thinking about edits. Michael's eyes welled up. Let's take a step back, not to fall behind, but to breathe. And so they did. They turned down million-dollar deals, returned the keys to a fancy studio, paused the channel, unplugged from everything, and they went back to where it all began. A simple cabin in the middle of nowhere. No internet, no scripts, just them. There they cooked together again, walked hand in hand, told dumb jokes, and laughed until their stomachs hurt. That's when they realized the best investment they ever made wasn't in cameras, or scripts, or social media. It was in each other, and that pause saved their love. When they returned, they came back different. Boundaries in place, a work hours and sacred time for love. More human videos, less editing, more honest moments, more vulnerability. And to their surprise, the audience loved them even more. Their authenticity moved people. You taught me that success without love isn't worth it. Thank you for showing us that slowing down doesn't mean failure. You're proof that it's possible to live your dream without losing your soul. Their brand grew, but more importantly, their legacy did. And now, Michael and Emily were ready to close one chapter and begin their greatest one yet. It was a clear morning, the kind where the sky feels like it's smiling at you. Emily stood on the porch, barefoot on the cool wooden floor, a warm coffee in her hand. Michael walked up quietly, hugged her from behind, and whispered, You know what makes me happiest? What? She asked with a sleepy smile. Knowing we filmed our best story, without ever pretending. Their lives had passed through so many chapters, from a shaky phone camera on the couch, to international fame, to exhaustion, to rediscovery. But now, they were at peace. And in that quiet joy, they decided to do something even bigger than subscriber counts. They launched a new series on their channel. This time, not about travel, not about gear, but about real life. They began visiting couples around the world. Stories of love, of loss, of resilience. People who lost everything and rebuilt with a whispered, I love you. Couples who battled illness, who lived in shacks and now run small businesses. Couples who lost children and turned grief into comfort for others. And the audience? It exploded, but not from drama or clickbait, from genuine emotion. Michael and Emily were leaving something behind. Something money can't buy. Something views can't measure. Something eternal. Until one day, while filming in Italy, Michael stopped, looked at Emily with teary eyes, and said, "I know what our next video should be." "What?" she asked. He knelt down, opened a small box, and with a trembling voice said, "Let's renew our vows. Not because the love faded, but because it became a fire warming the whole world." The crew cried. The subscribers cried. The world seemed to pause. For that second, yes. And there, on a cliffside by the sea, surrounded by friends they met through their journey, with the camera shaking from so many tears, they closed the most beautiful chapter of their lives. Emily looked toward the horizon and thought, it all started with an old phone, and a heart full of hope. Now, it's love that became a legacy. They kept filming, loving, inspiring. But now, with the certainty that their most beautiful story wasn't just on YouTube, it was in the life they lived, together, every single day. The end, or rather, the beginning of a new chapter. Want more? You're in the right place. Here on our channel, you'll find real love stories that overcame the impossible. From couples who went from renting to buying their first home, to those who started with a phone and now travel the world, to those who fell, cried, got back up, and never gave up on each other. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll believe again. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and join us on this journey of love, courage, and transformation. Because your love story matters too.